Okay, I see Ben's on it. I see Max. I see Natish. I see Philip. Okay. Hopefully this is going to work. Are you posting this, Scott?
It won't let me join it.
It won't let you join, like, the latest one? Can you try again?
Yeah. There you go.
Are you good?
You okay?
You see me? Okay. Are you on, Scott?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a way that you can share this link in the Facebook group?
I tried sharing. I shared the link, but I don't know if it's actual link or just their personal link.
Well, it's the same link for everyone, isn't it?
I did it.
Scott? Okay, sorry about that, guys. There's some obvious technical issues, but I think that we're ready to get started now. I'm just see that I'm buzzing with a few issues. Okay, so I see Talal and Martin and quite a few people who aren't sending video right now are able to hear us, so that's good. So we're gonna get started right away. Um, and just to sort of give you a preview of what we're going to be talking about, obviously, since we got started late, we'll try and be as brief as possible. But I think that it's really important for us all to have an opportunity to go over what are the expectations before we head off on what is sure to be a real whirlwind adventure with Junior Team Canada. And I know that people have lots of questions, and we'll be fielding those questions through the Facebook group. So if you aren't on the Facebook group yet, just sign on, and as we go through all of the items that we're going to talk about, hopefully we'll address most of those questions, but if we don't, then just post them on that group chat, and we will address them near the end of the webinar. So a few of the things that we're going to talk about tonight is, number one, what are the expectations of you as Junior Team Canada ambassadors? Everyone has now worked really hard over the last 3 months to get support from your communities and from the industries in your community, education and community organizations. And now, as representatives of that organization, representatives of Canada, and representatives of Global Vision, what are your roles and what are the deliverables that you should be accomplishing as JTC ambassadors? We'll talk about some of the nitty-gritty in terms of the work that has to be accomplished, so the reports that we'll all be working as a team to put together for our sponsors upon our return to Canada, as well as the reports for our individual partners. We'll talk a little bit about the agenda and what we're going to be doing in China and what you can look forward to over the next 2 or 3 weeks. And some of the other more fine details in terms of, arriving at the airport, who you should expect to meet, when you'll be getting there, as well as, like I said before, addressing any questions that might be on your mind right now. So I see, just before I get into that, it looks like everything seems to be working right now. So we'll dive right into it, and in just a few minutes, Amy just had to take a call, but in just a few minutes she'll be joining us back. And at any point, if you do have questions, feel free to use the Facebook chat, and if I don't address them as we go through the webinar, then we will be addressing them near the end. And yeah, Ben, I see that you're asking for a new thread. Absolutely, just start one on the Facebook page, and I have it up here on my screen, so I'll be able to see it, and yeah, you guys can take the initiative on that one. So, number one, in terms of expectations as a Junior Team Canada ambassador, like I said, you guys have already done a great job, a phenomenal job, in fact, in terms of preparing yourself and getting the support of all the stakeholders in your communities. And when we arrive in China, it's really going to be go time. I can say, as a past Junior Team Canada ambassador, of course, you're going to be learning throughout this entire process, and you're going to get better and better through the mission in terms of how you represent yourselves. But it's really important that we, from the get-go, make sure that we're taking this experience seriously. As you've probably heard before from myself and Amy and Terry, this isn't a trip. It's a mission, and there's a reason we call it a mission, because each of you have individual goals that you're trying to accomplish for your sponsors. And as a team, we also have goals and mandates that we have to meet. And there is a reason why Global Vision and the Junior Team Canada program has been able to sustain itself over the last 25 years and get the kinds of amazing opportunities that we've had so far. And that's because all of the other JTC ambassadors before you who are now graduates have been able to rise to the challenge, have been able to go above and beyond what the expectations are from our partners and meet those mandates. And so I think you should keep that in mind from the very first step that you take on that plane on the way to China. Forget everything that's going on at home. We all have, different things that are going on with our family and with our friends, and things that are happening in Canada that would happen on the everyday life. But as JTC ambassadors, we're on the LTR, as Terry would say, or the less traveled road, right? And it is a lonely road because not that many people actually are able to get on the road and then stay on the road. And just by virtue of you applying for the program, being selected for the program, doing all of the work that you've done over the last few months, you really are on the less traveled road. And it's important to remember that as we start to make our mark in China, that you're not just kids from Canada, and this isn't just a trip, but we are young professionals, and we are ambassadors for Canada, and we're ambassadors for all of the partners from industry and education and community organizations that have invested in us. So it's really important to always keep that in mind as we go through the mission. And a couple of things are a part of that. We expect you guys to be able to put your best foot forward in any of the scenarios on the mission. And of course, that's really important in all of the meetings that we're going to be able to partake in with trade commissioners, with consul generals, with leaders from industry and education and community in China. But it's also important to remember that when we're not in those meetings and when we're not in the suits, as a JTC ambassador, you don't take that hat off at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock when the official program is done, but you wear that hat 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And so it's important to be mindful in all of your words and deeds that you're continuously remembering, is this representative of the people that have invested in me? Is this representative of the organization that I'm a part of, Global Vision, and the brand that you guys have all come to know over the last few months? And is this representative of Canada? Because we are ambassadors for Canada, and we shouldn't take that role lightly. So I think that as JTC ambassadors, it's important for us to constantly remember that. And if anybody has any questions about that, I think you're getting my message. But happy if you'd like to post that in the group. Please feel free to do so now. I think Amy just got off of a conference call. She'd probably like to say a few words.
Amy with very curly hair. Yep. Getting ready for the hot humidity over there. Are you guys all excited? Woo! Okay. Yeah, it's great that we do it. It's like, it's making me dizzy. Okay. So like Adam went over our roles and responsibilities as ambassadors, so that's great. And in terms of logistics, we know we have 3 teams traveling out, right? So one team from the west is with Scott, and our team, Adam and I, we're leaving tomorrow night. Yep, not even packed yet, but we will be seeing your shiny faces at the gate. That's where we're going to meet for tomorrow night. And Terry's team, which is the biggest team, we'll all be together, and Scott and Terry's team will join up in Hong Kong to fly to Chongqing. So we'll all be together, and we'll have you all ready to roll on that side. So you should be good. please note that it'd be very important to try to sleep a little bit on the plane, because your first point of activity that day is going to be the big reception, right, at the with the consul general, and it's at the Westin Hotel. So it's a big to do, and he's bringing in a lot of key leaders, and this is where we talk about making meetings matter, right? This is where you're going to meet a lot of people that they brought in that are from your different sectors, so that you can try to connect with them and try to coordinate something outside of the things that we're trying to coordinate. So a lot of it is work on the ground. So this is a really important part about the mission. It's also about just like who you're going to meet on the plane. You never know who you're going to meet that could be really interesting, who can help you out. So it's just keeping your eyes open. And for those of you who have really specific things, it's really key that you've done some research so that you know who you want to meet. It's not like sending me something at the last minute. It's about you looking into who you'd like to do. Like, I know Alexis has already set up 2 meetings on her own, and I encourage others to be able to do that. Like, that's what it's all about. It's real leadership and stewardship to make those kinds of things happen. So I think that's really key. So now, Adam, if you'd like to talk a little bit about the reports. Is that what you're...
Sure. So as you all know, the reason that we're there in China is not only to do the promotion of Canadian industry and culture, but it's also to gather key information. And we call that market intelligence, which essentially are the kinds of things that people can't find by just Googling or just find on the internet or by reading a magazine. So it is the essential information that not everybody can find, that you can only find by being there on the ground in China, that is going to be very important for all of our partners from whatever sectors they come from to know if they have an interest in China. Now, when we arrive on the ground, we are going to place you in teams of probably 7 or 8 people, and you'll have different working teams throughout the mission. So we first will put you in teams in terms of accomplishing some of the challenges that you'll be issued throughout the mission, and that'll include the amazing race. That'll include some branding in terms of Canada and other challenges to come. You see Milo is honorary JTC member. Amy's cat is coming into the picture. But you'll also be placed in other teams based on the sector or sectors of interest that you have, based on where your partners are coming from and what they'd like you to do, and also what personally you're interested in. So, for example, as a team, we are for sure, hey Milo, we're for sure going to be covering education. That's one of our main focuses and one of the main priority sectors for Canadians in the Chinese marketplace. We'll be looking at agriculture. We'll be looking at yeah, I know, but you guys stop a lot because I'm on a call. Sorry, guys. So like I said, we're going to be put in teams based on sectors. So education, agriculture, technology, environmental sustainability, which also includes clean engineering and energy efficient products is going to be a big one. There will also be other sectors as we go along that it'll be important for us to work as a team to gather information, to make contacts in those sectors, and to collate all of those contacts and information into an entire team report that we will then put together and finalize once we get back to Canada, and then provide to our partners. That is really important that we're able to do that, because that is the kind of information that our partners are looking for, and the value, one of the main value as ambassadors that we can provide back to our partners to not only give that ROI on their investment in us, but also to make sure that if future JTC ambassadors are looking to continue partnerships with businesses and organizations that we've partnered with this year, that they have the information they looked for, and that future ambassadors are able to build on what we've done, and that we sustain the brand of providing value added to people who support Global Vision and JTC ambassadors. So, like I said, you'll be broken into teams. As the schedule is now, of course, there's going to be some meetings that are taking place at the same time, and we'll have to split up the team to make sure that we can go to and attend those different meetings. As individuals, I know, as Amy said, you're going to be setting up meetings with people we put you into contact with, or that you initiate contact with on your own. And it'll be important as a team, if you're a part of the team working on the agriculture sector, for example, and you also have a meeting at the same time that we're getting a briefing by an agricultural company, that you make sure that other people that are attending that agricultural briefing are able to get the information that you need to bring back into your team, and that we work hand in hand to make sure that all of the information and context that we need are collected and put together in a good way. One thing, based on my experience with Junior Team Canada, we always do, I think, a really great job, because people are excited and because people are passionate about representing their partners. There is always a lot of initiative in terms of getting the meetings, writing down the information, and presenting yourselves well in the meetings. But one thing that we need to, I think, improve on based on past missions with this mission, and I'm confident that if you guys prioritize this, it will happen, is that we make sure that all of the information from the individual team members in a given sector are collected. And that it is worked on in a report format. So for those of you who aren't yet in university, you can look to those members of your team who are to put together a proper report that answers the essential 5 W questions. So who did we meet? What are they doing? Why is it important? Where is it happening? And also, how it's going on, and what are the opportunities for Canada. And those sort of 5 W questions really need to be answered, and is going to be essential in terms of giving back to our partners. So when you get into those teams, and we'll of course go over this in more depth when we're on the ground, but one of the first things, building on your past JTC experiences, is working in a group. One of the first things is sharing what are the individual attributes that each team member brings to the group. So I expect once you're given your teammates that you guys will find an opportunity to SWOT yourselves and talk about, who's really great at report writing, who's really great to present themselves in the meeting and be that networker that's able to get the information that you're looking for, who is going to be able to add more of a research focus to it and build the context of what the discussions were into what is available online, and what data supports the information that you're told in those meetings. And as a team, you should also be able to select someone who is a really great organizer, who can make sure that they're getting all of the information, and whoever is given the responsibility to get each deliverable item, that who's the person that's going to bring all of that together in a coherent way that represents the entire team's findings to put together a really great report. So we'll be going over that, like I said, in more depth once we get to China, and we'll be asking who would like to work on which teams in the different sectors. But the initiative has to be taken on by you guys to decide and delegate which roles are going to be fulfilled by which ambassador, and ensure that at the end of the mission, not 3 weeks or 4 weeks after the mission, but on the plane ride home that you guys have a really great report with some really key findings that you're able to give me, that so that I can put the final version together. And within a few days of landing back into Canada, we'll be able to organize meetings with the partners that have supported us and really showcase what we were able to do during this mission. So I'm not sure, again, if there's any questions on that. I don't see any yet, but if there is any, then just write them down now, and I'll address them in a little bit. Moving on to the agenda. Some of you have heard a little bit about the agenda. We have to say that it is a work in progress, which is very normal for a trade mission. If you ask any business people, CEOs who currently go overseas and do international business, well, those that are the most successful will actually tell you that a lot of their meetings that they find the most lucrative aren't necessarily on a piece of paper in their agenda before they leave. And that's because in the JTC mantra, you never know where that next opportunity is going to be. And it really takes being there on the ground, listening, and taking the initiative to ask good questions and ask to be connected to key people for you to find the most lucrative opportunities. And so in terms of what we have right now, I'll go over that in just a second, but I think that it's really important that you always keep in mind that, you know, what's on the piece of paper in front of you is not the, like, it may be the official agenda, but that's not necessarily all you should be doing. You should always have your ears to the ground, looking for who can connect me to the right person to get that mandate achieved for the partner that I'm representing back in Canada, and how can I support my teammates when I know what they're trying to achieve. And you may come into a contact with someone that Philip may not, just as an example. And you may know that Philip is representing MacEwan University and he has to get these key deliverables back to the university, and your mandate may be in agriculture. And so it's important that we share that information with each other, working as a team, to ensure that as a team we are able to help each other achieve all of the different objectives that we're trying to deliver on. So in terms of what is happening with the agenda right now, I think what I'll probably just do is go over some of the highlights, and then we'll send you an up-to-date version of the agenda later on tomorrow, because we expect to have confirmation of a number of key meetings overnight tonight, given it's daytime in China. Right about now, people will be waking up. So in terms of some of the highlights, in Chongqing, as Amy said, most of the team will be arriving around 11:30, 12 o'clock. Later that night at 6 o'clock, we're going to be having a reception that is going to be personally hosted by the Consular General, whose name is David Perdue. He is 1 year into his post. Actually, last year when we were in Chengdu, his very first official day on the job, he spent with Global Vision and our team to give us a briefing, which really showcases how valuable he thinks the initiative that we are is to Canada and our efforts to strengthen bilateral trade and investment with Canada and China. So building on that relationship, he has offered to personally host a reception for us with a number of leaders from industry, from education, from community, and you guys will have about a 2-hour period to network with them and get some of the information that you're looking for, but also you'll have the opportunity to secure meetings for the rest of the days that we're in Chongqing, where you can follow up with them and look for maybe an hour-long meeting to really get into depth with the questions or with the information you're looking to get from them. So that's going to be a really important highlight. And fortunately, we are going to have a similar type reception in each of the cities that we're going to. So in Chengdu, it won't be hosted by the Canadian consulate, but it'll actually be by the the Chengdu, Canada Chamber promoting investment and trade. A really other good friend and contact of Global Vision, who we were put in touch with last year, whose name is Tony Chen. He's going to be bringing a number of really high-level industry officials from the Chengdu and the surrounding areas. And for anyone who's done some research on the city of Chengdu, you'll understand that it has been rapidly developing over the last several years. 10 years ago, most people haven't even heard of Chengdu. And now it's a city in the millions. It's a huge area for trade and investment. When you go, and you'll see this when we leave from the train station to our hotel, you'll be going by dealerships with Ferrari or all of the high-end designer shops. And that just sort of showcases the kind of consumer purchasing power that has been developing there over the last decade, and even more so in the surrounding cities of Chengdu is even more rapidly developing. And so when we talk about JTC being sort of on the cutting or leading edge, getting the kinds of information and contacts that are ahead of the time, this is a perfect example of that. Because even still, a lot of people in Canada, even those who are doing business in China right now, and some of you may have noticed this when you've been building your pitches, they've never really heard of Chengdu, and let alone some of the surrounding cities that are in the millions that have been rapidly developing. A lot of Canadians, in terms of their knowledge of China, they know Beijing, they know Shanghai, they know Hong Kong. Outside of that, there's not that much knowledge there. And so the point that I'm trying to make is that this is a really great opportunity to bring some newfound contacts and be the person who's connecting Canadian companies to opportunities before the rest of the world sees them. And I think that that's going to be a really cool thing that we can accomplish in Chengdu, given the kinds of people we'll be connected with. We're also going to be going in Chengdu to a number of really large multinational companies that are involved in different sort of ventures in the rest of Asia, and that are supporting what they would consider startup businesses, which are on a totally different scale than we would consider them in China. Startup businesses in China would be considered 50 to 250, 300 employees. Which is kind of funny when you think about it, because when we're back in here in Canada, we're thinking a startup is like maybe 3 people, maybe 5 people, and that's a really fastly developing startup. So a lot of these startup companies that are part of these multinational organizations, accelerator, incubator programs that have some capital being put behind them and are trying to expand in a rapid way, they're looking to break into the North American market because they see opportunities there for them, and they'd like to put a portion of their operations in North America to service our customer base. And so for anybody who's gotten mandates from economic development agencies or provincial investment organizations, that'll be a really great opportunity for you to tell them why the area that you're representing is a great match for their company to come and locate to and invest in and create jobs, which will in turn create prosperity for the local economy. So I think that that'll be a really great opportunity, especially for those who are into the economic development area and have partners in that sector. We're also working with a number of different companies to organize meetings in all of the different sectors that we have included in our partnership proposals and that you have told us about. And I should have mentioned when we were talking about Chongqing 2 things. Number one, we'll also be visiting a manufacturer of cars. It's a Canadian-based company that is in Chongqing that's manufacturing cars right now. So though I know many people, I don't think anybody has actual partners in the automotive sector from Canada. It'll be a really great insight into what it is like for a Canadian company to be doing manufacturing in China, and what are the opportunities that are there, what are the challenges that are associated, and what are some of the things that anybody, regardless of what you're actually producing, what anybody should be thinking about as they try to do manufacturing in China. And for both of those cities, as well as Guangzhou, we're also in the process of sort of solidifying meetings with a number of secondary schools and universities that are in the areas that will have the opportunity to either present to their principals, academic advisors, guidance counselors in terms of what are the attributes and the kinds of things that the educational institutions we're representing can offer to their Chinese students. And a lot of you have heard me go over, in the recruitment field, sometimes even more valuable than presenting to students themselves is presenting to those officials at the schools who can be real influencers for the students when they consider their options for post-secondary education and even secondary education abroad. And if we can make a really good impression and give some key information to those influencers, those officials in the schools, then the results in terms of recruitment will not just be one class that we present to, but it'll be an ongoing thing, because they're going to stay there for many, many years. And if we make a good impression, then they'll be able to continuously promote our partners to their students in China. We also will have opportunities to present directly to students. Keep in mind, it is the summer break, so the students that we'll present to will either be coming to the presentation because they're specifically interested in studying in Canada and have heard about our presentation, or they're going to be taking summer classes at the schools that we're going to. So that'll also be, some really great opportunities for everyone who's representing education partners, and I know that a lot of us are. So I think that's something you can really look forward to. In Guangzhou, we will also be connected to a number of different companies. Luckily, Global Vision has built up a really good network in that city over the past few years, and we'll be securing meetings in the different sectors that we'll be representing. And in all three of the cities, we will very fortunately be given briefings by either the Consular General or the Acting Consular General and the trade commissioners there with the key findings that they've made over the past number of years through their postings that is extremely pertinent in terms of either doing business in China or getting Chinese companies to come back to Canada and invest in the cities that we're representing. And so, like I said, we'll be sending out, hopefully tomorrow, a more detailed agenda with what we're going to be doing over the next few days. We have to say that it will fluctuate, and like I was talking about earlier, any businessman will tell you that some of the greatest opportunities that they uncover actually happen on the ground and isn't in the official agenda, but they're able to be connected through someone they're put in touch with to someone who can really make a difference in terms of what they're trying to do. So always keep that in mind and make sure that you're really looking for that next great opportunity. But we will send you something tomorrow, and we will continue to build on that as a team as we go throughout the mission. So that pretty much covers the agenda. And sorry, the last thing that I'll just talk about with that is that in all of these meetings, I think that it's really important to be very mindful of how we are presenting ourselves as ambassadors. And so, number one, if you're put in touch with all of these really great, knowledgeable, influential people, you have to ask questions, because they're an extremely good resource that barely anybody is able to have the opportunity to be put in contact with. So really use that time wisely. If you are getting a briefing by the Consular General for the Sichuan province, which you will be while we're in Chongqing, make sure that you're taking the time to think in advance of some of the questions that you think would be really important for your partners, and you think that would really be important to our overall report to our partners. So write those down in advance and make sure that you are asking them questions. It's also important when we're in those meetings to be following proper etiquette. So, for example, when you're asking a question, you don't just put up your hand and ask it directly. It's important for you as an ambassador to be able to present yourself. So if you do have a question for the Consular General, hi, my name is Adam Peabody. I'm a junior team in Canada ambassador representing Fredericton, New Brunswick, and I have a number of partners in the economic development area, and my question is X, Y, and Z. Make sure that you're introducing yourself so that you can make that connection. And when you do your follow-up, hopefully one-on-one, then you're able to make that sticky relationship that Terry talks about and that you can read about in your book. Also important to always be mindful of how you are dressing. So in any of these meetings, unless we tell you otherwise, you should probably be prepared, guys, with a suit and with a tie. It's always better to be overdressed than to be underdressed, especially as you're the person who's invited to this meeting. You're not hosting it yourself. And the equivalent for girls. I think it's important to have something nice that's not, too revealing. That you should have something to cover your shoulders or your sleeves if you're wearing a sleeveless dress. And that you are looking the part of that young professional, that business ambassador for Canada. Also very important to make sure that you say thank you, and that may seem as something really simple, but when you're there in the ground and everyone's excited and you have a next meeting to go to, I've seen it in the past where people may not take the time to thank our hosts or our guests for coming and spending their time with us. Remember that all of the people that you're going to be put in touch with are at a much, much higher level. These are executive level contacts that we have the fortunate opportunity through Terry and Amy to be put in contact with. So it's really important that you just take the time to say thank you for them spending their time with us, and to ensure if there's anything discussed in terms of follow-up based on that meeting, that you actually follow through with what was talked about. And also one last thing, and I hope that you have all been sort of reading up in terms of the culture of China and some of the information about the cities we're going to, as well as the business culture. One important thing I think for everyone to be aware of is trading your cards in China is quite a big deal, and very different from in North America where we sort of pass people our cards and just hand them over and it's no big deal. In China, you really have to present your card. So you always make sure, whether it's the beginning or the end of a meeting when you're trading a card with a contact, that you pass it to them with two hands, with your information in the direction that they can actually read it. So you're not able to read it, but they are. And you present it to them like that, and then you take their card. It may seem like a small thing, but in the culture of China, it is a very important thing. And there are other, cultural attributes that you should definitely do some research on in the coming days to make sure that you really are able to be fitting with that and able to make that good impression. And if you read Terry's book, that's a really important part that he goes over there, is fitting in with the culture and using diversity to your advantage. And we will certainly be looking at some of the ambassadors and their teammates who do speak Chinese to be able to help acclimatize and to share their knowledge with the rest of the team who may have parents or other family members who have grown up in China, to be able to share that with the rest of the team so that we're all able to put our best face forward and adapt to the local culture to really make sure that we make that great impact. Just a couple of other more logistical things. We talked earlier about meeting at the airport. So you all should know now your information in terms of domestic flights, so getting to Toronto or getting to Vancouver, wherever you're coming from, and your return trip. If you're going to Vancouver, you're going to be meeting with Scott, and you should make sure that at minimum you are checking in your bags 2 hours before your departure. There's going to be like very low tolerance for people who don't make sure that they are there on time and that they have everything that they need and the weight of their luggage is the dimensions that it should be. So you guys should all make sure that you weigh your bags before you actually leave, that you're there with way more than enough time to actually get through security and get to your gate. And you'll be either meeting Scott in Vancouver at the gate about an hour before your flight takes off, or at least 20 minutes before boarding time. Same thing with Terry in Toronto and with Amy and my team in Toronto tomorrow night. And also make sure, you know, as Amy said, you should be making sure that you're getting enough rest on the flight, but given it'll probably be about 11 or 12 hours, you also have an opportunity to ensure that any of the work that you have to do or any preparation for your partners is done, and to use that time wisely, because once we do arrive in Chongqing, we have the reception that night, and we are going to be hitting the ground running throughout the next 2 weeks and a bit. So there's not going to be a whole lot of time for preparing after we get on the ground. So make sure that you really come prepared, that you go over Terry's book too, and make sure that you're utilizing all of the key lessons there, and that you're fully ready to deliver on the expectations that we've talked about already tonight. Just one last, or a couple last things before we get into questions is any of the action items. I've emailed everybody that has outstanding information that I haven't received to them. If you have not given me your up-to-date sponsorship tracking sheet, t-shirt size, confirmed whether you have medical conditions or allergies, travel insurance, or any copies of your Chinese visa or passport, make sure that you do that tonight. Really have a low tolerance at this point after all of the reminders that I've sent out for anybody who hasn't given me that information, so please do so immediately. And lastly, in terms of refunds for those people who have raised the full $5,500 and have submitted deposits to us, or have a portion of each, we will be issuing refunds over the next week, but we can't issue them until the money has actually been received by Global Vision. So if you are issued a partial refund, that's the reason why, is because we haven't received the rest of the money that may have been confirmed to us, but has not been received online or at the office in London. So just so you're all aware of that. And refunds will be issued by e-transfer, so you can expect a message by Janice Schwartzer, who is our bookkeeper, and she will send you an email transfer to reimburse that money. If there are any questions about this, you can, of course, talk to me directly in person when we're in China, or send me an email in the next day before we leave, and I'd be happy to talk about that with you. So those are all of the main things that we wanted to go over tonight. I'm just going to check to see if we have any questions. I see that we have a couple. So Jerry's asking in terms of language barriers. Fortunately, using the diversity of our team, we do have a number of teammates who do speak Mandarin or Cantonese, and we will really be using their attributes in terms of helping the entire team. We'll also have a number of local contacts who do speak the language that can help us there. But the language of business around the world, including China, is English. So generally, you can get by with your English. But if you ever need help, then we'll make sure that you know who to ask for help from. The transportation information to Chengdu, we're going to be taking a train from Chongqing to Chengdu, and that information will be given to you once we arrive in China, and your tickets will be given to you then. Wendy's asking how far in advance should we get to the airport before leaving to China. I think I covered that, but at minimum, you need to have your bags checked and be through security 2 hours in advance. So that means you should probably arrive at minimum 2 hours and 15 minutes before your flight is supposed to take off, so you can ensure you have enough time to get through security and to check your bags. Martin, I'm going to get back to you about the manufacturing company with the agenda tomorrow, so you can look forward to that. Mustafa is asking about how many dress shirts you should bring, and if we have access to laundry facilities. Sometimes the hotels that we'll be staying at will have laundry facilities, but frankly, in my opinion, it's better to just bring what you'll be able to need, or what you need, or what you think you'll need. Just to give you a preview, like in terms of what I'm bringing 8 dress shirts with a few different ties that work with each ones. And as we go through the program, there will be some days where we're entirely in meetings from like 8 o'clock in the morning until 6 o'clock at night. But there will also be lots of days where we have meetings in the morning, and then we have some time for you guys to work on your deliverables in the afternoon, or vice versa, or opportunities to do individual meetings where it will change. So I think that you will have the opportunity to use some of your shirts a couple of times throughout the mission. Santa's asking what is the weight and size for the carry-on bags. The weight is 46 pounds, and there is one checked bag that you can use. You can bring 2 carry-on bags, and that would be like either a book bag and a laptop bag, or a purse and a larger carry-on bag, for example. In terms of the size, it would just be like the standard size that you can bring at an airport, and you can just research that online. Bringing an electronic note-taking device to meetings. I would recommend the good old-fashioned notepad and pen, to be honest. And the main reason that I would say that is that sometimes if you bring an electronic device and you're typing away at a meeting, it can be perceived that you're actually using it to do other things, where a notepad and pen, it's pretty obvious that you're writing down the notes of your meeting. So just from a perception standpoint, I would recommend a notepad and pen over an electronic device for note-taking. In terms of how much RMB or money you should bring with you, it really depends on how much you plan to spend. I know for myself, I have quite a few people back in Canada that are looking for me to bring back souvenirs or gifts to, as well as gifts for your partners, and that's an important point. I think that everyone should ensure, at the very least, that you buy some postcards for your partners that you can give as part of your thank you and deliverable once you get back. Or what's a really nice touch is when you can send it directly from China. But in terms of the amount, like I said, it really depends. I would say to get by between $200 and $300 Canadian converted to RMB would be sufficient. Myself, I'm going to be bringing about $500 Canadian to spend while I'm over there. So that would be in the range that I would look at in terms of spending. Yeah, so if you sent a check but it hasn't arrived before we leave, then you will likely get a partial refund at some point this week, and then either in the second week that we're in China or the week that we get back, you'll get the remainder of your refund that's due. Like I said earlier, we can't process refunds for money that we haven't received yet, so once we do receive the money, then we'll be able to process the refund within 24 to 48 hours after receiving it. In terms of accommodations and roommates, you guys are lucky that we've been able to secure some good deals on hotels so that you'll be rooming with one other person. The first night with those who are coming with Amy and I think that there's three to a bed for just the first night. But we'll, the very small team that's coming with Amy and I will have a chance to go over that together tomorrow night. But for the rest of the mission, you'll be rooming with one other person. You'll be given those roommate names once you arrive, and at a certain point throughout the mission, maybe in Chengdu or in Guangzhou, we may change those roommates up a little bit just so you get the chance to know other people a little bit better. And of course, it'll be the rooms will be based on gender. So guys are rooming with other guys, girls are rooming with other girls. And over the course of the last several months, Amy and I have had a chance to get to know each of you and a little bit about your personalities and what your mandates are like and your work style. So hopefully we are taking that into mind as we build the roommate list, and hopefully you'll be matched with someone that you get along with very well. Jared's asking arrival time, those arriving via domestic flights to the international flights. So if you're arriving to Toronto, for example, or to Vancouver from another city, then you would go out and you have to pick up your bag. No?
Domestic?
No,
Your bags go right away to wherever country you want to.
Are you sure?
Awesome.
Okay, so your bags should go onto the international flight, and you just have to get yourself through the customs for international to get to the gate that you're going to.
Yeah, you just make sure that your bags are ticketed right through to Chongqing. You're going to see your bags in
Hong Kong.
In Hong Kong. But you don't have to go out.
In terms of small gifts for the people you're meeting with, if there's key people that you are meeting, like of course for any of the team meetings, we will be giving small gifts that will typically be the Junior Team Canada t-shirt, which is in red, which is the lucky color of China. So we're fortunate that our brand works out there. But if you did want to bring, for example, some pins from your home city that you can give out, or some small other gifts like a pen, or any, or to the dollar store or anything else like that, then that's absolutely encouraged, and it's a really nice touch. In terms of business meetings on weekends, we will have some, but we will also have some time on the weekends to work on our deliverables, and also opportunities to do some more cultural things like visiting the Panda Conservation Park and the Amazing Race, etc. And yeah, meals are included for the mission. The spending money that you're talking about would mainly be for souvenirs and stuff. At the same time, there are certain times, especially if people are going to meetings that are taking place simultaneously for individual meetings, you should bring a little bit of money so that if you are in the case where you aren't with the rest of the team and it's lunchtime, you have to buy your own lunch. And we'll be talking once we get on the ground about the amount per meal that we'll be dispersing. So you'll know your limit if you do need to buy a lunch for yourself or buy a dinner for yourself because you have a meeting that's different from the entire team and you aren't eating with the rest of the group. Then you would just save your receipt and we would reimburse you once you get back, as long as up into the limit of the meal cost that we talk about once we get there. In terms of free time and leisure, it would be, that's number one, not really what we're there for. We're really there to make sure that we're delivering on all of our mandates and making sure that really making the most of our time for our sponsors who have invested in us. Of course, there will be some free time as well. And that's not built into the schedule. That will be sort of on an ongoing basis, and you guys are responsible within the time that isn't structured to make sure that you are balancing your deliverables that you have to do for reporting on the sectors you're responsible for getting the information for your mandates, and for doing some of the other challenges that we'll be issuing throughout the mission. You're balancing that with also, seeing some of the sites, or, using some of your leisure time. So we'll talk more about when those times will be happening, but I think that's really important to be conscious of, is that you're really using this opportunity to the best effect possible. And for JTC business cards, yes, you will be getting those business cards once we get on the ground in China. Scott's already collected your information and has put together some, in my opinion, some really nice business cards that is going to make really great impact. So you can look forward to getting those in Chongqing just in time for our big networking reception. So other than that, it looks like there are no other questions. And I know that it's getting late for some people, especially our friends out east. So unless there's anything else, and I don't see anything, I think that'll be it for tonight. As I already mentioned in our email, we are available, Amy and I, either at the 1-888 line, or my cell phone, or Amy's cell phone, until tomorrow evening. So if there's anything else, feel free to give us a call tomorrow, or shoot us an email, and we'll try our best to get back to you fast with whatever answers to your questions that you're asking. Other than that, I hope that everyone's getting really excited. Hard to believe where the last 3 months have gone, but you guys have all put in a lot of great work. I'm really looking forward to getting to see everyone in person. For those who I haven't met in person, but connected on the phone with, I think that we have an awesome team who's really talented, with a lot of strong focus, and that's ready to hit the ground running in China and make a really big impact for our partners and for Canada. And I know that Amy and Terry are just as excited as I am, and I hope that you are. So if there's anything else, don't hesitate to give us a shout. And otherwise, I'm really looking forward to seeing some of you in Toronto tomorrow night, and the rest of you in Chongqing about 24 hours after that. So wish you guys the best over the last 24 hours, and we will see you soon. All right, bye, night.